everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I really wanted to make a card tonight that was quick and easy, and I just kind of remembered this old technique that I'd done years ago. I can't even remember, I don't know what it's actually called, but I think it's called like a triple layer card. Something to those effects. So I thought we'd make that really quick together because it's quick, it's easy, you can use pretty much anything from your stash to make it with. So that is dead good. So to get started, you're going to need some white cardstock. I find white the easiest because it means then you can play with whatever colors you want for your stamps. You need some kind of stamped image to be able to stamp on top, and then a base color. So once we get going and we work out what colors we're going to use for the stamps, then I'll pick my background layer for my card. I am just going to do the whole thing with you as if I would do on my own, and how I'd craft. Today I'm going to use this stamp set. I've never used it. I bought it ages ago. It's called Butterflies and Blooms. I'll link it down below. I think I paid £8.50 for it. And it's just got some butterflies, it's got some roses on it, leaves, beautiful little kind of foliage there, and then some lovely words. So that's what I'm going to use today, purely because it's in my stash and I've never used it, so I thought let's get on with it. Right, I've got some white cardstock, which I picked up from Lime Tree Craft, as always. I'll link them down below. They're my favourite UK card shop. I am going to start with 5x5. So I want my card to be around 5x5 inches. I'm just going to start with my first layer as 5x5 because what I want to do is mark them down by an inch per layer. So this is just the easiest way for my brain to work. So I'm going to go and cut it to 5x5. This paper trimmer, it's quite funny. I picked this up from Hobbycraft. I went in with my kids and I was really unsure whether I needed another one or not, but I just looked at it and I was like, this is so familiar, so familiar. And there we go. I kid you not. This one is the Stampin' Up! One. This one cost me 25 or 26 pounds. This is Hobbycraft. And they are 100% identical apart from color. I did email Stampin' Up! Because I said, I found your paper trimmer. I found it on Amazon actually by another 2 different companies. And this is total sidetrack note, but anyways, they emailed me back and said yes, they partnered with another company and have paid for the use of their design. So you can go to Stampin' Up! And you can get your 25, 26 pound trimmer, or you can go to Hobbycraft and get it for £7.50 on sale. So just so you know, they're the exact same trimmer, just brown and vanilla. I love this trimmer. If you want to cut 6x6, so cutting your paper pack apart, it just goes up to this edge and it'll cut 6 inches right along that edge. This goes all the way out and will cut you up to 17 inches long. I don't know if you can see that. So it is fantastic. It's got sticky grips on the bottom. For £7.50, this is such a perfect paper trimmer. So I've cut my first panel to 5x5. I am going to cut my next one to 4x4. So lining it up at the 4-inch mark. And then we're going to do the last one at 3x3. So our last little bit of cardstock here will cut down to 3x3. Like so. Okay, so when we're done, we've got this layered effect like so. You've got an inch between each layers, which works out to ½ an inch between the layers, if you get what I mean, because there's ½ an inch on each side. So now we've got this panel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some temporary adhesive. I've got the Dot and Dab temporary adhesive. This is a very cheap, versatile, easy to use, removable adhesive, and I'm going to aim and eyeball it for the middle and hopefully have it all straight. If you get it wrong, you can just pick it up, lift it, and shift it. Now you could use a ruler if you're really particular about things being straight, but I don't care that much. And then we're going to stick another bit on the back of that one and aim for the middle. Press it down. So now we've got 3 layers. I'm going to get my stamps ready. Okay, so for my rose colors, I'm going to go with Rocco Rose and Pretty Peacock from Stampin' Up! And then for my butterflies, I'm going to go with Rich Razzleberry and Lovely Lipstick. And for my leaves, I will do Pear Pizzazz, and then I'm going to use my VersaFine Onyx Black to do my outlines. Now, I have no idea if all these colors will go together very well because I'm really poor at picking colors, so we'll see how they go. I'm also aware that some of these ink pads I think are retired from Stampin' Up, but I'm using what I've got and making the most of them because ink pads can cost a lot of money. So I'm just going to make the most of what I've got. Right, I'm going to start with this butterfly first because it is my favorite one. And I'm literally just going to stamp it. I'm going to press quite firm. If you miss like that, then just stick straight over top if it's photopolymer and stamp again. So in this technique, you kind of need to rock a little bit to get through those layers. It's not going to matter too much because we're going to put another layer in there, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So I'm just going to stamp some of these ones around. I'm not going to worry about the middle because I think I'll put a sentiment, but I will probably put a popped up raised one on there, so I'm not going to worry too much. And I like to stamp off to make it kind of look a bit more continual. So I'll leave that in the ink pad and then we don't lose which one we're using. And I'm going to go for some of the lighter purple one. This is by no means perfect, but we're having fun doing it, aren't we? I missed that edge completely, didn't I? Now you can see my fatal error here. I completely forgot to use this one. It's quite a small surface to work with. I probably packed it in more than you need to. You can do as much or as little as you like. I'm going to go ahead and add in the outlines for those butterflies now, which come with the antennas. And I'm just going to line them up over top and then stamp down. And that will just give a little bit more character to these butterflies. Now this stamp set also comes with sort of more decorative bits that you can stick in the middle and then a solid image. I'm not going to use those today. However, just to tie it all together, I am going to go in and on my big roses I'm going to use the dotties and then I'm going to use that small one. I'm not sure if that's what they're for, but that's what I'm going to use them for. One thing to be mindful of is if you've got a craft mat, not to put your hand in it and then get the ink on there. I'm not going to worry too much because it's very, very mildly noticeable, but I'm going to go ahead and wipe that out before I go. Okay, so the next bit we're going to create our layers. So I know that this is 5 inches, 4 inches, and 3 inches. So what we're going to do is create a layer that is 1/8 of an inch bigger than each of those layers. So we'll start with 5 and we'll go to 5 1/8 by 5 1/8. And that will fit behind that first one just like so, with a very small border around the edge. Now I've chosen to go with the matching cardstock for one of my inks, so I've got Lovely Lipstick as my cardstock. I like it because it matches. If I didn't have matching, then I would go with something that was as close as possible to those, or I would use my ink and make my own cardstock. And that would probably be the easiest way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the next 2 layers at 1/8 bigger. So now it gets really simple. We're just going to go ahead and adhere them all onto our cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and use liquid glue because I find that the easiest to work with. Now when you finish those layers, we can then go and layer them back on top of each other, making sure that you are paying attention to your layers and getting them in the right spot. And it is so quick and simple. Now you could do some dimension if you wanted and pop them up, but I'm going to do them all flat it'll save on postage, it won't be as bulky, and then I can sort of save that dimension for maybe some embellishments like rhinestones or something. Now the reason for this little bit of card is my black is VersaFine Onyx Black, so it is a pigment ink and it's not 100% dry yet. I could heat set it, but you can see there's a little bit of ink kind of trailing off and I don't want to rub it and then smudge my ink. So there's our layers. How gorgeous is that? How quick and simple, and what a great effect. So the next thing I'm going to do is do a card base. So we know that it's 5 inches, 5 1/8 of an inch. So we're going to do 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 as our card base. So I cut my card base down to 10.5 by 5 1/4, and that gives us a perfect little card base to pop that on. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that down. So it is that simple. That is our base of a card, and now all we really need is some kind of sentiment or something to go on the front. Now we've got these bits of scrap that were left over from our card base, so we could use that to go ahead and stamp something like maybe happy birthday would be quite nice. I think what also could be nice is to take one of the butterflies and actually stamp it and cut it out and kind of have the sentiment popping up with that. Okay, so I went ahead and cut out the butterfly, and then I thought it would be fun, so I fussy cut it out, stamped it, fussy cut out. That would be fun to add the extra element on this one in the other purple color that we used, which looks quite cute. So there's a little butterfly that's going to get popped up off our card. Now those get a bit lost on the card. I was thinking I could maybe arrange it like that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the edges of my sentiment, and I'm going to put a bit of vellum behind it. Now what I like to do with vellum is I like to use, I have a piece of vellum and I like to take a sticky back sheet, so just any double-sided sticky back, and I like to stick that onto the back of it so that when I stick it down you can't tell that there is adhesive on the back of it. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little square, probably about 1/4 inch smaller than our 3 by 3. So I will go for 2 3/4. So I've gone ahead and I've added my double-sized sticky sheet to the back of my vellum, and now I'll just cut my square out of that. Right, so I'm going to ink up using a bit of sponge in the same color. And this is just a quick and simple card. What I think I would do if I had more time is I would get out my shapes dies and maybe use a circle and do a vellum circle. Would probably look really nice on there. No, actually I'm going to do that. Okay, so I didn't realize I wasn't recording and I stuck down my vellum. I'm very sorry. I thought I had hit record on the camera and I didn't. But I've got my surprise creation dies from the circle set, which is like the wonky stitching set, and I just die cut out a circle, pulled off the release sheet, stuck it down, and then kind of rubbed that down with my bone folder, so you can't tell there's adhesive there at all because the whole thing is adhesive. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick down my happy birthday. I'm going to use some foam squares. Any foam squares will do, or any kind of dimensional sticker. I'm just going to pop those on the back. I know I want this in the center. I don't know where I want my butterfly yet, but I'm going to go ahead and stick that down in the center. Now by butterfly I'm trying to decide whether I want it on the top there or whether I want it off to the side. I think it kind of gets a bit chaotic once it comes off of the vellum. So I think I'm just going to stick them right in the center. This can be as complicated and detailed as you like or as simple as you like, but the base of the card takes no time at all to make up, and you get a really fun result when you're done. So it's worth having a go and having a play with this technique. You can also change up the shapes. You could do circles and use dies. You could do, you know, you don't have to have symmetrical layering. You could have, you know, a rectangle, a smaller rectangle, then a square or something. You know, you can do whatever you like with this technique. It's really versatile. But hopefully this has been a nice, quick and easy way to show you you could just use one stamp set, some of your product that you've got in your stash, and make a really fun birthday card. So I think what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of Wink of Stella onto there. I don't want to add too much because this is water-based ink and it will probably start to run as it is. So I'm just going to add on a quick little bit and just kind of wipe in between. This is the frustrating thing with some inks, is that they run the instant you add liquid to them. So I want the color there, but I don't really want it to bleed too much. So I want the sparkle, is what I should say. There we go, there's a bit of sparkle on there. And what you could do is you could add glossy accents on there as well, really make it pop off. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and then that will finish off my card. So I went ahead and added on the glossy accents and I let it dry, and sadly it picked up all the colour from underneath. So it's kind of a bit of a pink mess. It still looks pretty and I'll roll with it. But as you can see at the photos at the end of the video, that's what happened. And that is my card. So I hope you enjoyed this fun little tutorial. If you could go ahead and add some gems on and really sparkle it up a bit. But for now I'm going to leave it like this and maybe come in at some other point and add in some gems. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a go at this technique. Please do let me know in the comments if you did. I'd love to know about it. Thanks for joining me. Please don't forget to subscribe. Bye.